Alright, greetings. I just recorded a video about the vols, and I'm going to talk about something. And this is not so much into the singing itself, but how people deal with teachers, actually, how teachers deal with technique and how they sell their services and what you should be aware of. So here's the thing. I saw a guy, I don't know if it's a voice teacher or who the guy is actually. Uh, there is a name, but there is no confirmation of that. It's a person, okay? And that person was talking about a certain technique, where he does something to sing. Okay, so I'll create a situation here. Let's talk about covering. I made a video about vol modifications and covering, right? It's when you go, that's on, which is a little bit rounder. It's useful for classical singing, and is useful on if you know how to do that. You can use it to sing Journey, for example, with a half smile on top of it. Sounds really good on Journey songs, and perhaps it's similar to what Stevie Perry did. Now here is the thing. While I'm demonstrating the principle for you, I'm talking about it. I can talk about. I demonstrate. I can demonstrate. I can, perhaps my description is off. I'm talking about stuff that doesn't exist and you don't like it. No problem. That's still myself presenting an idea. Now, what people do is that instead of demonstrating how it works, I'm talking about the concept, I'm showing the concept, and then I apply on the song. Instead of doing this, they will show a video of Pavarotti talking about covering. And of course, Pavarotti is kind of good, like stupidly good. It's the best singer ever, only that. So you see, whatever technique I say that he's using, of course you're gonna say, "Oh, that's great, I want that." Everyone wants. Who would not want that? The problem is, the technique I'm teaching you, although it probably has a lot to do with what he did, because the concept is similar from classical training, etc., etc. I didn't learn from the same source. I don't have the same training that Pavarotti did. I am not doing the same thing. It's not. It just can't be. It's a technique that I learned and I trained. There's a lot involved. There was a long way from beginning to learn and what I can do now and what I can show you. And Pavarotti had a different life, a different experience. He was much better than I am, and it's not the same. I cannot use him as an example of what I teach. That's not honest. That's deceiving. And I see people doing this with Pavarotti, uh, Corelli, Caruso, uh, you name it, Gigli, Frank Sinatra, uh, any great singer out there. It's the easiest thing in the world. I show you the singer and say, "Oh, he's doing uh, whatever name I want to call the technique," and it just so happens, yeah, what a coincidence, that it's the same thing that I teach. Look at that. Is that perfect? Yeah. No, really, no. Don't buy into that. Please don't buy into that. Listen to what the guy does and how the person sounds. That's what you're gonna learn. That's the perhaps you can do something better, but use that as a reference. Don't dream about becoming Pavarotti just because if you're gonna learn with me. I'm sorry to say, to burst your bubble, but you're not gonna sound like Pavarotti. I cannot teach you that. Perhaps you can figure that out on your own, and if you do, please show me how. I would love to learn that. But please keep in mind, just because the name of a technique is the same, it doesn't mean it's the same concept. And no decent teacher should be using famous names to represent what they teach. They should just show how it works. For example, what I said from Journey, if you use it, it's gonna be something like, "Here we stand, the words apart, hearts broken and down, down. So a little half smile to break that. Here we stand, words apart, hearts broken to break that tall position. That's it. I know it doesn't sound the same as Steve Perry, and it won't make you as good as Steve Perry, but it's a technique that you can use to sing the song. And perhaps if you work a lot on it, you can be really good at it. But it's just a technique. These are just things that you do. They don't make you awesome. And using references, if someone is using Steve Perry as a reference to what you're gonna learn, I'm sorry, you're being deceived. You're being deceived. So wise up, pay attention to what you're being told, and especially what I always say, confront what you're. Actually, don't confront anything. Discard everything that's said. Look at what the person do. That's it. Their actions, how they sing, how they behave, how they interact with you. Just actions really. And then you consider the words. But first and foremost, look at what people do. So if what they are doing is using famous name to represent a technique that they obviously didn't learn from that source. Exception, of course, when there is a relation. The person learned from the same teacher. You have Pavarotti. He had a teacher, and that teacher trained another singer that it's the same technique. It came from the same place. Okay, that's good. I would love that myself. So that's a good thing to explore. I know that there is a situation like this. So even so, it's not the same thing of what I said before. That person does not even promote himself in a similar way. Okay. I hope it helps. And thanks for watching again.